And it's because he really thought that I didn't want to be with him and that I did not know how to end it.
Yeah.
Because for him, his role, the pressure of his life and everything, he thought that I was feeling pressure.
Yeah.
And that I didn't want to be with him. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Family Business with the Alessis. And today we have an episode that we all have been waiting for. And I'm here, my name is Richelle, and I'm here with my sister-in-law, Gaby Alessi.
Hello everybody.
And we're gonna have a great conversation today. As you guys might know, Gaby got engaged recently.
Yay.
And we wanna know, Gaby, the story. We wanna know all the details. This is your time to share. And we have some fun questions to make it about expectation versus reality. We see that a lot, but we know that even as Christians, our way looks a little bit different.
It does.
And so I'm excited. I'm a big fan of Christian and Gaby, and I love you guys, and I am truly so excited for your wedding.
Thank you.
I loved when you guys, I loved you guys when you were just separate.
Yeah.
I loved you guys dating. I love you guys engaged. And I'm going to love you guys when you get married. So it's going to be amazing.
Well, thank you. I'm excited that we get to finally share this on the podcast. There were so many times that we'd be in the podcast booth. And I think there was a podcast, an episode my dad and I did. And then my brother and I did a recap on dating. And it's hard because you're talking about dating and you're in a relationship, but we didn't disclose that we were in a relationship while we were dating. So it was kind of like I had all of this or not advice, but stuff that I'd bring up and I'd be like, well, if I were in a relationship, meanwhile I was in a relationship. So it's cool that we get to finally talk about it. And I like the topic because it's not just let's just talk dating. It's dating and engagement and the expectations, the reality, the pressure. I think it's really good because I'm in the thick of it now.
Yeah.
And now I'm picking up that's why you and Chris did that. Or that's why Steph and Wienia did those things. Or that's why other people that have gone through this, that's why they made decisions like that. So.
I love it. We're excited. And before we get started, I want you guys to know that we have a text line. So if you want to get any updates, please text family to 302-524-0800.
We need to make a little jingle.
Yeah, just to remember.
Just to remember it.
Because actually our channel right now has over 5,500 subscribers.
Wow.
And so if you're listening or watching, please make sure that you follow us and subscribe on YouTube.
That's awesome. Thank you guys for subscribing. Yeah. This is awesome. This little community here.
Yep. All right, but let's get started.
Let's do it.
I'm excited. And actually, I had a couple questions, and I know as girls, we're just going to flow. But can you tell us, how did you and Christian meet?
Yes.
What is your story? And how did you know that he was the one?
Oh my God. So Christian and I have known each other since forever. I don't think I've never not known Christian. Or maybe I didn't know Christian for 10 months because he's 10 months younger than me. So I was just born first. But Christian and I have been born and raised in Miami at the same church. His mom came to the church when she was I think 8 months pregnant with him.
Wow.
So, I mean, all he's known is the church, or he has known as the church. And so we just grew up together. I actually have this picture of us as kids.
Oh my God.
And this is Christian when it was his 4th birthday. And this is Christian and I. I don't know if you'll zoom in on I don't know how they do this in post, but this is a picture of us. And this was his 4th birthday at the church, funny enough.
Wow.
So then we did this back when we first started dating. I took the old photo and then I took the new photo. And he did outgrow me and he did surpassed me quickly. But yeah, so we've been born and raised at the church. We grew up together, but apart. So because he was younger, it was kind of the different age groups. And when you're younger, it's age is a big deal. So he was in the younger friend group with a bunch of the boys. I was with the older friend group with some girls and then some guys too. But we all grew up around each other. We just weren't together all the time. So we just kind of did our thing. We grew up. I remember girls liked him. One of my girlfriends liked him at the time. And I told her we were 16 and I'm you need to avoid him. He's not. God. And I didn't think anything of him. It was just teenage stuff. And then, we got to a place where he kind of walked away from the church for a season. And then I was here at the church serving, working at the church, doing my thing. And then he started to come back around. Mm-hmm. And he really did have this kind of this revelation, this new revelation of who God is. Because I mean, growing up in church, you think you know God.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you need to go through some things to really know him.
Yeah.
And so when he started coming back around, he felt this heart to serve, and specifically in the youth. So he started serving in a youth group. I was a youth minister. I still am. And about a year and a half into him serving at youth group, I kind of noticed him. And it was funny because, and this sounds egotistical on my part, but I kept thinking like, wow, this guy keeps up with me. Because I had never really met a guy that kept up with me. I'm very driven. I have things that I want to get done. I'm kind of like I just initiate. Like I'm that type of girl. I'm very similar to my dad. So I had never met a guy that could keep up with me. And so I remember kind of looking to the side, and it was Christopher, your husband, that told me, you want to be with somebody that when you're running your race, you can look to your right or to your left, and the person's also running the race with you. And he's like, what's beautiful is when you're running your race and you're focused on what God has called you to do, you'll look over and that person's doing the same, but God's like quickly merging your races and like bringing them together. And he was like, if that's what you are seeing with Christian, then it's something to pursue. Well, I didn't know at the same time, Christopher's having the same conversation with Christian. Yes. And basically, I tell people all the time, my brother, he's our matchmaker.
Oh.
If it wasn't for Christopher, I don't think Christian and I would get together, because there was just some things because of ministry and positions and titles that we kind of had to like maneuver and do the right way. So we started dating, and then on our first date, I think it was clear in my mind. I think it was clear in his mind, and we wouldn't have gotten together had we not believed there was a future. I think the both of us were very confident that this was something. But on our first date, I threw a million questions at him. How long are you going to want to date, and how much this, and are you going to handle ministry? Can you handle like some of the pressures of the limelight and the attention and people asking you questions? And I just threw everything at him. And he just kept saying, I wouldn't be here had I not considered those questions. Like we wouldn't be at this dinner. And our lives just aligned.
Yeah.
Like before chemistry, before even physical attraction, before a year in that we really started, our lives were aligned from day one.
Yeah.
And that our families were equally yoked.
Yeah.
You know, like you could be equally yoked, but the families aren't.
Yeah.
And I know everybody's situation's different, but that spoke a lot to me. I think I needed that. And so our families were aligned. Our future was aligned. What I love about him is he's a visionary. He's someone that can see, and like he has ideas, and that's really not a gift of mine. And that's something I prayed for. And he had that. So it was just kind of like before any of the attraction came, the foundational things that I had prayed for and wanted and needed were already there.
We're there. Yeah.
So it was kind of a no-brainer, and it just made sense. And like we fell hard. Like once that was settled, we fell hard. It was like, and it was instant. Like I think 2 months or maybe a month in, we were like, yeah, we love each other. Like we could just say this. Like we love each other. But it wasn't out of this butterfly feelings.
Yeah.
I think we really loved each other because it was like our lives are so aligned.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy. Like a lot of times we say it, we're so similar in a lot of ways. But it's just God's really brought us together and molded us into, I think, good counterparts for one another.
You know, I love that because even before you and Christian dated, and it's similar to me and Chris, people don't know, but you guys served.
Yeah.
And did not just talk. You did nothing but serve together for how long? Like
I think a year and a half, maybe 2 years.
Year and a half. And he had been part of the church.
Yeah.
His family's been part of the church for years. But that was around the time that you guys started to serve together.
Yeah.
And you guys were running your race. And I love that because you were not focused on each other.
No.
You were focused on what God had for you, what you knew at the time your season was calling you to.
Yeah.
And you were obedient to that.
Yeah.
And what I loved even about you guys is that even when that time came where people saw you together, you two, it's not like you didn't see it.
Yeah.
But you were really saying, I'm not going to let anything distract me from what God has for me right now.
Yes.
And because of that and your obedience is actually what I think made all of us be like, no, you guys, you need to be together. You guys need to be together.
Yeah.
And I think we've even seen it throughout the course of your dating and engagement, where both of you were so submissive to the timing and the process that your parents had given.
Yeah.
And not from a place of like not trusting them.
Yeah.
But you really trusted their timing.
Yeah.
And what they saw for you. And I think that's even the reason why we love you guys even more, because we can see that submission of wanting to do it right.
Yeah.
And seeing now you both serve together in the youth group. The youth group didn't know for a long time.
The youth group didn't know. I think they all knew, but they really respected us and our relationship. But the youth group, because we didn't want it to be this like, we didn't want it to quickly turn into the Gaby and Christian show, because we know it could. Like, as the lead, kids are constantly looking for relationships. They're looking for who likes each other. That just sparks. Well, the youth group should not be about us. It's never been about me, like, as the leader.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that to be a thing. And even now that we're engaged and people know, we're still very sensitive with it. Like, we forget to sit together sometimes because we didn't sit together for like 2 years. And now we're like, oh, we can sit together in a church. We can talk to each other. But we want to be sensitive, because I don't want an environment for young people to come and have a relationship with the Lord and meet other people. And it should be about them.
Yeah.
It can become about us.
Yeah.
So we try to be mindful of that. And we also know that we're setting an example for all of them. Some of these kids don't know what a healthy, godly relationship looks like. And so they're looking at us. Like, Richelle, even when it comes down to like the wedding dress that I picked. Like, you were there. Like, there's different options. And in Miami, they have a lot of tight dress options, frankly. And they look stunning, and I fell in love with them. And I was like, I love the way that I look. But I also knew that this is like one day for me to be a bride.
Yeah.
And people were going to learn from this day.
Yes.
That I have a bunch of 16-year-old girls and even 13-year-old girls that are so excited about this wedding. They keep joking. They're like, it's the royal wedding. And I'm like, chill, don't blow my ego up, please. But they're so excited, and it's beautiful, because they're just looking at an example. And I remember being that young too. So back to it, I chose a dress that I knew would be modest and honorable.
Yeah.
It's not about being a prude. It's not about covering up. It's being honorable.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to set an example even on the day that's all about me, right? It's my day. I wanted it to be something that was honorable to people around, just like how we've done our relationship.
I love that. And your dress is beautiful.
Thank you.
And I can't wait for everybody to see it.
I know.
It's going to be so fun.
I can't wait.
But now that we're talking about dating, and you did the dating and now you're engaged.
Yes.
What are some things that you feel like are very different than what you expected? Things that you saw, you see things in movies, you see things in family, you see things in the church. And you have this idea of what dating is like until you get to your dating relationship. And most importantly, with the person that you're going to marry.
Yeah.
And you have all these expectations, and then some things are very different.
Yeah.
What are some of those things that you feel like have been different than you expected?
I think one of the things that I had to work through, I don't want to say that it was a struggle, because it's part of dating. The thing that I had to work through that I didn't know would be work was the mental battle when we first started dating. And I'd actually say the first year dating, because looking back, I could tell you, oh, I knew he was the one for me. But I know that because we're where we're at now.
Yeah.
I'm confident in it. I remember when we came back from our first date, I think Lauren was the only one that was in town. My parents were on a work trip. And I got home at like around 11:30, and I just had like this rush of emotions. And I pull up to the house, and the house is like super dark. Everybody's sleeping. And I'm like, okay. And again, movies or other people's stories, you expect to get home from the first date with your husband as like, oh my God, everybody's waiting for you. And they're like clapping for you on the way home, whatever. And I go upstairs, and Lauren's like going to sleep. And she's like, look, I'm really sorry. We could talk tomorrow. Like, I have something big in the morning. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I go to my room, and I like text my sister Stephanie, and she's sleeping. And I call my mom, and everybody in my life that like I could just be a girl with, they were all sleeping. And I just had to get in bed, and I was like, okay, Lord, this is something that I have to work through. And there's things that after the first date, your first argument, or when a struggle comes or a challenge comes where the two of you have to work it out, getting home and like being in bed after that night and you don't have people to process it with, it can be really difficult. So I think it's the mental battle of a relationship of, is this somebody that I still see for my future? Is it worth still dating? What if I lose him? What if all of this is just too good to be true? And it's like, I kept telling Stephanie, I'm like, Steph, he's either my husband or he's a fraud. Like that was like my saying. I was like, that's how good this feels. But also I know that this could be over any minute. And that pressure can be really hard to work through. But I needed that. I needed to be dependent or independent. And I needed to say, okay, Lord, I'm going to lean on you. God, what do you think? Like, you wouldn't have brought me here had you not know that I can handle it. But also you've kind of like, I had to remind myself about the truth that I knew about Christian, the truth that I know about the Lord. Like there were things that you have to work through, but it is difficult when you're on your own dating. And this is something that I love dating older. Like if I could go back, I would start dating when I was 21, like seriously dating. I'd go on dates like when I was 18. Like I think that's healthy, but 21 changed so much for me. And dating at 24, and I bet like dating at 28 is probably even better, but dating at 24 was such a gift, I think, because it really did help me. I was a little bit more emotionally balanced.
Yeah.
Because getting home and having to process those emotions can be really difficult. Like you're doing brand new things. You're feeling different things. You're thinking different things. And then there's a whole lot of fear.
Yeah.
And that was something that I never expected that from a relationship. I thought when you date the one, everything just makes sense.
It makes sense, yeah.
Like,
there's no hard moments.
There's no hard moments. Yeah. Even the hard moments are not that hard. Like, and I thought like it would all just fall into place. And it does, but you still have to work towards it. Like you're just working it out. It's not a struggle. Like don't see it as an issue. You're just working it out.
Yeah.
Because I still felt the peace. If I didn't feel the peace, then it would be a
different story.
I probably wouldn't be in this booth right now.
Yeah, that's true. But when Chris and I were dating, we have a similar story, but at the time we're dating and Chris wanted to hang out with me every night. And I did too. Yeah. I really did. But at the time, my sister needed me for something, so I like canceled on him like 2 nights in a row. And on the second night, he's like, "I'm driving over your house." And I'm like,
"Something's wrong."
Something's wrong. I'm like, "Okay, you can come over. That's fine." And it's because he really thought that I didn't want to be with him, and that I did not know how to end it.
Yeah.
Because for him, his role, the pressure of his life and everything, he thought that I was feeling pressure.
Yeah.
And that I didn't want to be with him. And it took a fight for us to realize that no, we are in this.
Yeah.
And that moment, it wasn't super like easy.
Yeah.
But it was necessary.
Yeah.
And it was that expectation where you think that everything's going to be perfect.
No.
You're going to hang out every day. You're going to think the same.
No.
And then some moments happen and things happen and you're like, no, I still want to be with you. It's just now let's communicate.
Yeah.
And you learn the other person and you learn each other. And I love that about dating and engagement seasons.
Yeah.
Because I actually think even during engagement, and I would love to hear some about it, about you and Christian, but your differences really start to show.
Yes.
But in a really great way.
Yes.
Because it's the first time you're planning a big event that cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you're trying to please a lot of different family members.
Oh my God.
And you're trying to involve families. And the pressure really brings out your personalities and the things that you think.
Yeah.
But I feel like in those moments, even though we had little fights and we had to see, okay, how can we help each other? How can you help me? How can I help you? It really made us stronger.
Yes.
And you think, especially with social media, you see these beautiful weddings. Yeah. And you're like, they're like movies.
Yes.
And you're like, how did you do that? But that's like 20 minutes or even a couple of photos.
Exactly.
To show the beautifulness of a really hard 8 months.
Exactly.
And
a lot of money.
And a lot of money. And you're like, for me, I had never, ever spent that much money in my life. And then I'm seeing what everything costs and like reality hit me. And
yes.
I'm like, oh my God. Yes. And even signing contracts, and that can put pressure on a couple, but I think it's good pressure.
Yeah.
Because you work together.
Yes.
And nobody can figure it out for you.
No.
But you two. But the beautiful reward is at the end, you can say we did it together.
Exactly.
And then you get the beautiful gift of marriage.
Exactly.
So what are some things that you and Christian have noticed, and now that you're engaged, that you've worked through some of the things that you didn't expect that have come out through this season of engagement?
Well, I think I've learned that I'm a lot pettier than I thought I was, and very immature. And I remember my mom told me a story that she goes, boyfriends will put up with pettiness and drama, and boyfriends will, if you don't answer him, will show up at your house. And boyfriends, if they haven't heard from you, will go above and beyond to make sure you're okay. She goes, fiancés and husbands won't.
Wow.
And she's like, there's a certain point where the man goes, I can't play into this. I'm not just going to drop everything just because you got offended at one thing that I did or you got hurt. that's something that I'm learning. And I'm really having to do a better job of like, not just because it ticks me off and it makes me mad. There's probably something else that's making me mad, but I'm just targeting him and I'm taking it out on him. And so I remember there was like a time where it's just stupid stuff, man. It's like, I don't know. I wanted something and I was being super petty and in my mind, I'm like, if I want something, that should burden him and he should do it for me. That's how I think.
Yeah.
And it's terrible. And I'm really working on it. But what I wanted, he couldn't do. He's like, I can't right now. I'm working. I can't go and do this thing. And I'm like, and then I'm thinking of what Instagram has created. If he wanted to, he would. And it's a great piece of advice, but it also can hurt you when you are settled down with somebody and you're committed to them. Because in your mind, you're like, but if he wanted to, he would go and get me a cup of coffee because I'm tired. Like you really do think that way. And you have to sit back and he's like, and he told me, he's like, look, I can't. Like at a certain point, he didn't say this, but at a certain point, I have to grow up. And I can't now that I have this fiance, this guy that I'm gonna be with, he's gonna just cater to all of my needs. Yeah. That is not what being with someone is. And it's worked out a lot of my pettiness. So that's one of the things between he and I that I think I'm working on. And I never knew, like, that's a reality that I did not know that I had. Like, that's something that I'm like, wow, I'm very dependent and very petty. And I need to work on that. Like, I'm holding him to a standard that nobody is at that standard. Nobody needs to be held there. So that's something. And then also the reality of finances. Like that, I remember we had bought the ring already. He had bought it. And we were pretty open about our ring process. Like we went and got the ring together. We shopped for it. It was awesome. We bought it essentially together. So I had known when it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen around like the springtime. I just didn't know the exact day. So in January, we sat down at my house and we're like, okay, like I knew we were getting engaged. So we decided, let's look at our finances now because we were starting to house shop already. And we're like, let's look at our finances. Let's lay everything out and let's make a budget for the two of us. And then we can see what we can afford in a house. And so we're on the patio and we're laying it out. And look, we're trying everything new in marriage and God bless us. We're going to figure it out. I know God got other people through. So he's going to have to get us through. So we're making this budget and neither of us really budget on our own. And we're making like what we can afford and what we're going to have to pay off. And we're doing all of this. And basically by the end of it, we looked at each other and we're like, we are screwed. Like, why are we doing this? And I could tell he's like, I'm about to propose to this girl. And these are our like, this is where we're at. And it was so stressful. And like, we both went to bed that night, like freaked out. Like, should we even do this? Should we wait another year? All of these things. And it was hard. And then we had to go to counsel. We talked to our parents about it. Our parents kind of gave us a reality. But yeah, we thought, and you think you're in a better place and you think things aren't as expensive. And it's not the reality. They are. Miami's very expensive. But I think also the both of us realized like we did not pick the timeline. At the end of the day, like the Lord really moved in a way where we can get engaged in this season. Yeah. And that's like a whole nother story in itself. But like we had our own timeline in mind that we felt honored our family, honored our season. And my dad and my family was like, look, if y'all want to get married sooner. Mm-hmm. So we both felt like if we did not, this was out of our control in a way. Like we loved it. We wanted to. We controlled the situation, of course. But the Lord made a way for us to get engaged earlier. If he allowed that to happen with the blessing of everybody and people were excited about it and there was just confirmation after confirmation, we had the money to get the ring and we had the money to, if everything lined up, God's going to figure out the home. God's going to figure out where we're going to live, the finances to do that. So the reality is it is hard. Yeah. But we're going to have to learn how to depend on the Lord in this season like never before and depend on one another and to get through it together. Yeah. And I think that's where it was difficult. And like he, as a guy got really stressed out. Yeah. And you just start thinking all of these things. Can we do it? What are we supposed to, like just all of these thoughts of like, we're gonna fall apart. Like we're not gonna be able to do this. But it led us to a place of, okay, we can do it together. There's gonna be sacrifices that we have to make. Like I probably won't be able to get my nails done as much as I used to. My hair that's why I went back to my natural colored hair because I can't get my hair done, but it's worth it in the end. Yeah. And God will provide everything that we need.
You know, when Chris and I did the same thing, one day we were already engaged, and we sat down and we were going over finances. Well, for me, that was so hard because I had a job. I didn't make as much as him, really. And I was just embarrassed to share.
Yeah.
Like, look, I work hard.
Yeah.
I was going to school. I was working. It's not like I wasn't working. But it was scary to bring that together. And sometimes finances could be the most vulnerable thing that you talk about. And it could put a big stressor. But can I say that during the engagement season, I saw the hand of God in provision the most than ever before.
Wow.
And the way the Lord provided, it was like, oh, now I understand what it means to God to be my provider.
Yes.
Because that was personal.
Yes.
Now the provision, even though it was still coming through people, because God will use people to bless you, it was done to you though, specifically.
Exactly.
It was not now just coming through your parents. And it was not just blessing your parents, blessing you.
Exactly.
Even though that's still going to happen because your parents are going to bless you, but it was more personal.
Exactly.
And you're going to see now when you step to that new season, and it's you two, it's great because now you see God's faithfulness for you and Christian and your family. And the little things that you desire, the little things that he desires, that align together. That will make your family, your home, that home that you will live in the next 2 to 3 years. The things that you will have in that home, and everything that comes with that, the Lord provides in such a beautiful way, and he's never late. It always comes at the right time. And you end up that season being like, I now even got to experience a new character of God. And his ways become so more real to you. Because you're stepping in a season where you are having to trust him even more than before.
Well, it's that thing that I think one of the pastors that came in, he said it a while ago. He said, I don't see it as like, oh, you have to trust your spouse and trust God. He's like, you need to love your spouse and you need to trust God.
Yeah.
And as a girl, I do need to submit. Like the word says it, like we submit, I'll submit to him. But Christian is not even my provider. Like I'm processing that of like, I need to trust him, obviously. Yeah. He needs to trust me, obviously. But my dependence and my trust is in the Lord.
Yeah.
And it's through Christian, right? Yes. Like we'll do that together. But I'm going to love him and I'm going to support Christian and I'm going to be his biggest fan, his biggest advocate. Like I am there for him, but I'm trusting God to get us through. And I'm trusting God to provide. And what's beautiful, Richelle, is God provides peace in this season. Like we don't have a house yet and we've got 4 months till the wedding, but there's just this peace on the both of us. Maybe Christian doesn't have peace. I have peace. I'm like, God's gonna provide that. And I think that's what's beautiful is God brings two people together that can depend on one another, but also they can complement each other.
Yeah.
Where Christian might be stressed out, but I'll bring the peace.
Yeah.
And then in another season, it'll be vice versa, where he brings the peace, but I bring the stress.
Yeah.
But that's where we can work together.
And you're doing it together. That's the best thing about marriage.
Yeah.
You truly are never alone.
No.
You are a team. And from now on, everything that you conquer is together.
Yeah.
Planning a wedding will be together. Taking care of your home will be together. Yeah. Having a baby will be together. Everything forever is you two.
It's true.
You're never alone. And as long as you choose to serve each other.
Yeah.
And always think the best of each other, even in the hard moments.
Yeah.
To choose to say, I'm going to think the best of you. I'm going to see the situation and see it. How can I serve you?
Yeah. And
you give to each other. You can really conquer anything.
Amen.
So, listen, thank you for having this conversation.
I love it.
I am so happy that I got to have this conversation
with you.
Awesome. This was awesome. And we truly are believing the best for you and Christian, and that the Lord is going to provide everything. We have been celebrating you, and we're ready to celebrate you. And I know our church and our family are so excited to celebrate you both, because you as individuals have been such a blessing to many people.
Thank you.
And now God has brought you together to bless many more people.
Yeah.
And so we're thankful that Christian is going to be part of the family. Christian, we love you. Marina loves Christian.
Marina is upset. The kids love Christian.
So funny thing before we end, right? For you guys to see how sweet Christian is. But when Marina was less than a year old, he was still months, Christian was doing a internship here at the church.
At the church.
And so he would be here like twice a week. And Christian would always go and said, I would put my 20 minutes in with Marina.
Yeah.
And he would go pick up Marina from the nursery, and he would spend 20, 30 minutes with him. He would put him to sleep. Marina loved going to sleep with him.
Also, because Christian's so tall that I think there's just like this calming spirit.
And Marina's always been so big.
Yes.
He was like, oh, finally, somebody that can handle
my stress.
But it was so sweet. And till this day, Marino just loves him. And the other day we're having dinner and I looked at Christian and I said, it's so sweet that forever, there's not going to be a day when Marino doesn't remember you.
It's so true.
Because you came into our life so early on.
So true.
And it's going to be great to see our families grow together.
And I can't wait to see all of them. Marino, Gianna, Matthew, even Christian's niece.
Yes.
Elle, they're all going to be a part of the wedding. So it'll be really
That's
going
to be a blast.
But thank you for doing this. And I think this is great that we could talk about relationships because it is difficult, especially if you are coming from date. And I'd love to continue a conversation on this, but like if you're listening and you're dating or you're wanting to date or you're dating and you want to get engaged, it can be difficult. It's not all roses. It's not just all, oh my God, I felt peace from the beginning. There's peace, but there's a lot of uncomfortability and nerves in that season. But you can get through it if it's the right person.
Yep.
And also if you're both submitted to the Lord and you do it the right way.
I love it. That means that we're going to have another episode on this then.
We need to.
Because we need to have a follow-up.
There's a lot more. You didn't answer a lot of questions. There's a lot more that we can get into.
I love it.
About dating and all that.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us on another episode. And let us know if you want to continue this conversation. We would love to have it. Maybe we can bring one of your sisters.
Yes.
And you guys can give that point of view. But thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you next week.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video, and click on the notifications bell so you can be notified for all of our future videos. And if you loved today's topic, we have plenty more. And you can click on this link right here to watch all of our videos so you can learn why family is everybody's business.